Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. We are back in the forest and I have a special message for you. I have a message for everyone who feels like quitting, who says, I quit because I have enough of this. You may feel completely drained out, you may feel like everybody is pushing you down, and you may feel like, I quit, I have enough of this, what's going on? So you need to understand that not all storms are here to disrupt your journey, your path, your life. Not all storms are here to destroy your life. Some storms will just clear up your path. Some storms will remind you what relationships are not for you. Some storms will remind you that it's time to change your diet. Some storms will remind you that it's time to take care of your cup of life. If your cup of life is empty, you have nothing to give, right? So when people are coming at you, draining you with their toxicity, it's a reminder that you need to learn to set boundaries. It's a reminder that you need to recognize who are your people and who are not worth of your energy, who are not worth of your time, right? That's what life is teaching you. So when you feel like quitting, you actually need to recharge your cup of life, right? You need to recharge your batteries. That's what you need. You need to find a new direction in life, or give a rebirth to that old direction that was sometime in the past meaningful. Maybe sometime in the past you had clear goals and you had that drive, you felt the inner fire, but it burned out, and you've burned out. The reason that people burn out is because they're not really joyful about what they are doing, right? But you know, sometimes we are joyful at what we do, but we lose the joy because what we are doing becomes like a certain responsibility that doesn't bring us same amount of joy as it did in the past. So we lose the drive, but because we think we still need to do it because of certain reasons like financial or whatever it may be, we may lose the joy for doing that. And that's the time where we need to pause a little bit and ask ourselves, what are we doing, right? What are we doing? There's a lot of talk about burning out right now. All around the world, people are waking up, recognizing, well, where have I left my joy for life, right? Where have I left my spark? Because I know it was within me somewhere in the past, but I can't remember where I've left it. Do you feel like that? Because that's when we start to feel like, I want to quit, I want to give up, because nothing works in my favor anymore. Like the whole life is against me. Do you feel like the whole life is against you? Well, it's not. It's actually just reminding you that you need to pause yourself. You need to pause yourself and get back to yourself and take care of yourself so you find yourself once again, right? And you may be wondering, well, how to do that? How to find myself? Who am I? Well, that's a great start. That's a great beginning. Who am I? Well, I don't know. You will need to discover that for yourself. But it's not something intellectual. I would ask myself, like I always do, because sometimes I feel lost as well. Sometimes I feel like today I don't have energy to create anything. Today I feel a bit stuck. But because I know myself well, I know what I need to do. I ask myself, well, what's my energy level? Am I tired? How was my sleep? What I was eating yesterday? Where's my mindset? I ask those questions so I can find the pattern why I feel that way, right? And it's called self-awareness. We need to be aware of ourselves. But let's firstly just appreciate this place. Look at that. It's like we would be on a whole another world. Maybe we are. So, you see, we need to learn to read the patterns of our life so we can recognize what brought us to where we are today, what brought us to this place, what brought us to feeling that way. You see, you may say, well, because of all the storms in my life, I feel that way, but then you find the truth. It's not the storms. The storms are your wake-up call that you need to maybe pause yourself, that you need to maybe change your diet, that you need to take care of your sleep. Science is saying if you're sleeping well, your life will most probably improve for 80%. And that's powerful. If not 80, at least 50. Because I think a great priority is our mindset. If we wake up and think about all the problems, that's what we'll see in our lives, right? So we also need to remind ourselves that we are thinking right. That we wake up and we have something to look up for, right? That's why I love art, because there's no limits. Sometimes I wake up and I say, well, I want to finish this painting, and I'm whole charged up and I go and paint. And that's a beautiful sensation. And sometimes I feel, well, oh, I need to share this with you. Sometimes, you know, in the morning I'm journaling, or sometimes when I'm stuck, I'm writing down my thoughts and I'm like making interview with myself, and I'm noticing, oh, that's what happens, and I feel charged up. I want to talk about this with you. Maybe somebody else is going through this as well. And that's what I do. So, you see, we need to find a way that can help us to express ourselves. And usually when we feel down because there's so much weight on our shoulders. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like there's a bunch of rocks on your shoulders? Do you feel like that? It's not a beautiful sensation, right? Because we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. We feel helpless. And when we feel helpless, we feel no meaning for life. We feel there's no one to help us. And what we do when there's no one to help us? When most people go through a spiritual awakening, when they are left alone, when most of their friends betray them, leave them behind, they go through a spiritual awakening. Why? Because they discover that those were not their real friends, and they start wondering, what if other things in my life are not real as well? What if the source of what brings me money is not the source of my joy? And that's another great realization, right? So people start waking up to asking bigger questions. And that is a part of a spiritual awakening. People start asking bigger questions. Like, what's going on here? What am I doing? How was I able to do all these things for such a long time without burning out? Well, at some point you maybe did, right? We're so good at pretending that we're okay until we can't pretend anymore, right? And that is, again, a huge realization. When we notice that we're constantly pretending, and at some point we lose ourselves. So if you feel like you have a bunch of rocks on your shoulders, at some point you will need to let them go, right? You will need to let them go. And you've heard a term, let go, right? You've heard that, but you may not know how to do it. How to let go. So what it means to let go of something? Well, for most people it's hard to let go because what they're holding on is so familiar to them that they think they would feel lost if they would be without it, even if that's pain, even if that's shame, even if that's guilt, right? But we need to ask ourselves, can I change this? If I can't change that, I need to let it go. If I can't change this, I need to let it go. Because sometimes it happens that we said some wrong things to a person that is not here anymore. Sometimes it happens. And we can't go back in time and change that. Physically, we can't do that. So we need to ask ourselves, well, I'm still holding on that pain from that conversation, but I can't go back in time and change it. Right now I would say different words to that person, but I can't change that. So the easiest way to let go of it is to firstly make peace with that memory. And how to make a peace with that memory? Well, there are different ways. One is that you imagine like going back in time, meeting that memory and doing things differently, or forgive to that person, say sorry to that person, whatever it is. Maybe you need to say sorry to yourself. That's one way. Another way is that you decide that from now on you will strive to be better. You will strive to be more compassionate. You will strive to be more present with yourself, more conscious. You will strive to become more conscious human, right? So you can become more human. And that is a great way to let go of those heavy rocks. But firstly, you need to know, what are those heavy rocks? What are those weights on your shoulders? Do you feel like there's so much you're holding on to and you can't release it, and because you can't release it you constantly feel drained out, and then somebody says something to you and you say, oh, that's your fault. But actually your cup of life is empty, and that's why everybody can hurt you so easily. Because what I've learned in my life, when I'm okay with myself, nothing can touch me. That's what I've learned. But when I'm not okay, I can see a tiny negative comment in thousands of positive ones, and I will feel sad, or I will be irritated, or even angry. So I needed to learn to maintain a certain level of energy within my body. And for that, it's required again a certain state of awareness, like, how do I feel? Right? How do I feel? And that is really powerful. You start to become your own therapist, your own coach, your own teacher. You start mastering yourself by asking yourself, how do I feel and what do I need? And that's how you will go from feeling like you need to quit. You will start to feel like it's time to transmute yourself, right? And that is something truly, truly beautiful a person can do. Well, we've just discovered a whole new forest here. I've never been here before. Sometimes, we're talking and we just find a completely new place. Sometimes we lose ourselves, but then we discover a new path. That's what happens. But it's okay, right? It's okay. So my friends, if you feel like quitting, it's actually all okay with that. You're not a bad person because of that. You need a recharge. Take time with that, right? We are so hard on ourselves, and it's not your fault. You've been raised in an environment where you needed to be hard on yourself to survive, but maybe right now you're not in that place anymore. Or maybe you still feel that you're still in that place where you feel you need to be hard on yourself, but the truth is, it's all a mental game. The world is mental. When you think you need to be hard on yourself, you will constantly find reasons why you should be hard on yourself. But when you discover that the whole universe is working with you, not against you, you will notice that you are always supported to take a break, right? To press that pause button and take time for yourself, to notice what you should actually pay attention to, right? You have your own needs, you have your own heartfelt desires. You have some goals to strive towards, to look up for, right? Maybe some financial goals that are not working out, and you need to recognize why. You don't deserve all that pain. It's not your fault that you feel it, because nobody taught you how to work with that, how to cope with it, how to let go of it. But you don't deserve it, right? And if you don't deserve it, you need to shake it off. You need to raise your standards for life a little bit and say to yourself, well, I'm ready to level up. I'm ready to level up. I will level up my self-care. How to level up my self-care? Well, of course you need to know what brings you a sense of self-care. For me, it's staying active, being in nature. Oh, I love to be in nature. I love to be on my bike. That's something I love for over 16 years, 17 years. Bike saved my life, because when I needed to escape my reality as a little kid, I went on my bike. Then creating art is again a sense of self-care. Art saved my life as well. When I was a little kid, I was drawing. When somebody went wrong, and maybe my mother was angry or whatever it was, I went in my room and I drew, and I forgot about everything. So it was like, I was not aware of that, but it helped me to channel my anger, to channel my emotions. So whatever gives you a sense of self-care, meditation again, I just need to meditate because my mind is so active. I need to meditate. If I don't meditate, I can easily lose myself in thoughts and all those creative ideas. Sometimes I'm really inspired and I could work all day long, and if I don't ground myself, I start to feel like my brain is burning out. So you see, we need to know ourselves to such a degree that we know what we need. That's when you will be able to say, well, actually, I don't need to quit. I just need to be with myself more often, right? Maybe I need to quit to live the life I used to live so I can create a new one that is more beneficial for me. But you will discover that for yourself. I just want to encourage you to listen to yourself. So, my friends, I hope you found something valuable here. I hope that this forest inspired you as much as it inspired me. And I want to encourage you, like I said before, not all storms are here to punish you, to disrupt your life's path. Some will actually clear your path, so you can find the right direction, right? Some will teach you what people are your people by removing the wrong ones, by removing those who don't belong in your life anymore. And some will remind you that you need to take time for yourself. Sometimes we start losing things. We start losing friends, we start losing money, we start losing inspiration, we start losing energy, and we get into that survival mode. And when we say, well, everything is falling apart. But on the other side, it's a reminder, hey, you went too far trying to control things while everything is already under the control, right? And all you need to do is to recharge your cup of life so you can see things more clearly. And you will go from wanting to quit to wanting to live. And that is a powerful shift. So my friends, I will leave you here. I hope you found something valuable. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and power. Till next time, one love.